So today I wanted to talk about 5 key factors why Scandinavians always seem to be ranking the world's happiness report in the top. Now, the United Nations World Happiness Report obviously looks at many different countries, and the definition of happiness is based on many variants. And there is obviously the fact that wealth and happiness, you would think they go together, but actually doesn't necessarily have to be that way. So they do a new happiness report every year, and I'm always surprised to kind of look at the aftermath and how the results get interpreted. But what I think is probably more beneficial, sorry, tripping over my own tongue today, is to look at why there are this clear shift that in the Scandinavian countries or the Nordic countries, there seems to be a higher level of happiness generally amongst people. And Hygge is obviously going to be a big part of that, and I definitely believe so. But it's not the only thing, although actually the way I look at Hygge, which is Hygge as a mindset, very much influences the other factors as well. So there are more than 5 factors, but I wanted to keep it relatively short. So I'm going to give you 5 key factors which I believe are kind of the highest influences on the fact that people experience more happiness and joy in their everyday life. And there are things that you can start working on as well if you feel that there's something missing, or maybe you want to create a better balance in your life. So Hygge. You're in a group called Happiness, Health and Hygge. So yes, Hygge is definitely a key factor. But very much if you're looking at it from a mindset point of view, instead of just candles and fluffy socks. Okay, so it's remembering that Hygge is something that you create. It's not something that you buy. And there needs to be space and room, and that's physically as well as mentally, to allow for that Hygge to take place. And I've done lots of other videos on that, so I'm not going to spend an awful lot of time talking about it, but it's about focusing your intention. Okay, so intention is everything. So focus your intent on creating that Hygge and allowing the space for that Hygge to actually to take place. Even if it only lasts for 2 minutes and then you get interrupted, that's fine. You know, you had that. And there are other ways of exploring Hygge on a more regular basis. It's remembering that it's something we create from the inside, so it comes inside and out. We can set the scene, we can try and create the scene for where the Hygge will take place, but it's creating it from the inside and let that then come out. And not least to celebrate the moment for what it is, the fact that that moment where you have your Hygge, where you're sitting down to Hygge, whether it's on your own or with your family and friends, to celebrate that moment for what it is, the fact that it's unique and there's something beautiful to be found in it. So Hygge is definitely one of the key factors, I strongly believe, and also proven again and again in reports and so on, is that mindset. It's that mentality to have space and time to nurture that. And in many ways, it's self-love. It's taking that time out to show yourself that bit of self-love, giving yourself that, allow yourself that to happen. Okay, number 2. Enjoying and celebrating. So we celebrate a lot in Scandinavia. If you've been following me for a while, you know that we tend to celebrate quite a lot throughout the year, and it's sometimes it's having those little things to look forward to. It can get you really excited. It can really help you to get out when when it's dark and it's cold and you need some motivation. Sometimes you might need like a little milestone halfway through your week to get you through your week. It's having something to celebrate and to look forward to. And also, yes, we like getting together with other people when it's possible, and we like good food and drink. Now, I've said this before and I'll repeat that hygge is not necessarily related to food and drink. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. And at the bottom line, we all need to eat and drink. And I think in Scandinavia, there's quite high consumptions of cakes. And you know, if you think of a smoker's board, for example, you know, like the Danish smoker's board, Denmark, we've got like cake buffets as well. That's another tradition. I might just have to share that with you in another talk. And it's having the time to say that, yes, now we're going to have this, we're going to enjoy it. Okay, you bought your, or you made your cakes, you're going to sit down and you are thoroughly going to enjoy them. But the fact is, it's a treat. And that's where the word lagom comes in. So the Swedish word kind of defining everything in measures. And it's moderation. It's having everything in moderation is good. Okay. And there are an occasion for most things. So the occasion for the cake might be, I don't know, a Sunday. So for example, I'll take my own parents as an example here. So my parents are quite elderly now, and they've my uncle comes to see my father every Sunday, and they have this little tradition, you know, like my dad goes and buys special rolls on a Sunday. That's quite traditional. You have that in Denmark. They're like little wheat or wholemeal rolls that you buy fresh from the baker. And you normally go really early in the morning, so you get them really, really fresh, like 7 o'clock. And they're quite clever, the bakers, because obviously they've got all their cakes out. So normally he'll buy like a cake, so there'll be like a cake on the Sunday as well. And he will then have this with my uncle. He'll be sharing this. My mum is trying to watch her cholesterol, so she's not in this, but it's like a Sunday thing, okay? And they will not have cake during the week. They have it on the Sunday. My father has it on this Sunday. So it's like everything in moderation, and yes, enjoy it when it happens. And it's the same thing with the kids. So in Scandinavia, traditionally, you don't have a lot of sweets during the week. You might have one day where you have your sweets. In Denmark, it's called fredagsslik, so Friday candy. In Sweden, and I believe also in Norway, they call it lørdagsmys, so that's the Saturday sweet. And that's where you have it on that occasion. But generally during the week, you probably won't have anything. And it's making sure that there is that clear definition of what is treat and what is good for you. But when you have a treat, because it's on that occasion, you allow yourself to also thoroughly enjoy it, and you can really look forward to it as well. Number 3, nature. So this is a big thing for me because in Scandinavia and the Nordic countries, we have this very close link to nature. And many people think that if you live up north where it's dark a lot of the year, or where it's very snowy and windy, then surely you must live inside a lot. Well, we do live inside a lot, but we also get outside a lot. And it's having that link to nature is very, very important. It really helps to go out, have the wind blow your cobwebs away. There's nothing like it to kind of get out of your head and into the now. And also that sometimes make the hygge even more special if you've been outside. But we also have hygge outside, you know, especially not right now because it's really, really freezing here in the UK, despite it being May. It doesn't feel like spring at all. But the fact that you can go outside and enjoy yourself under the open sky, surround yourself with trees, enjoy the flowers in your garden. All of that is a very big part of hygge. So nature is an integrated part of hygge anyway in Denmark, but it's also very important to expose oneself to it throughout the day, and not just once a day, ideally several times a day as well. And in Scandinavia anyway, there is traditionally, children also get exposed from a very young age. We wrap them up warm, leave them in the prams outside. Sometimes, you know, during the winter, obviously, making sure that it's not in a blizzard. But it's to kind of, they always say it's good for their lungs. It's also calming for generally to be obviously in nature. So whenever there's an opportunity and it's safe to do so, that's what happens. There is a long tradition of forest schools and forest kindergartens, which were established in Scandinavia as well. And now, thank goodness, they're being embraced across the world as well, where children allow themselves to submerge themselves all day long in nature. So some forest schools, they don't even have an indoor, or the indoor is maybe only where you go to go to the toilet, or you go to, I don't know, change your clothes if you need to, because sometimes, you know, even though they're in their all weather suits, they will still maybe need a change of clothes. And that connection with nature is very, very important. It's very healthy for us, and we know that. I mean, I think deep down inside we probably know that. We've got scientific evidence to prove that it is good for both the mind and the body and the soul. So often I think we find barriers in our modern life that prevents us from going out and being in touch with nature. But it is possible, even when you live in a big city. I've lived in big cities. It's getting out and finding nature where it is. And if you can't go out and find nature during your day, if you work in an office, you might have a park nearby. Maybe you are able to cycle, or in another way walk maybe parts of your commute to get yourself out. Hear the birds sing. There's something magical about that. Spring. My 5-year-old said this morning when I cycled him to school, he said, "Mother, this is a beautiful day on our planet." And his words just really, really touched me, because the sun was coming out and the birds were in the tree, and it's that really, really strong connection. And it's the simple pleasures sometimes, that thing of enjoying the fact that, you know, the sun's coming out, the birds are singing, and you can actually smell the blossom, although most of the blossom's gone now. That makes a huge difference to not only like I said, our mental well-being, but also our physical well-being. So yes, so it's all about getting out. So I'm looking at my notes, making sure I remember to get everything. It's about getting yourself out and enjoying, when possible, that nature. And if it's really difficult for you to do it, then I was just about to say, take a leaf out of my book. That's a pun. You know, like bring nature inside. You know, like have some green plants and stuff around you. I had a chat with a lady the other day. We did an online meeting, a one-to-one, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, I want my office to look like yours, because it feels so lush and green and inspiring." And I said, "Well, to be quite honest, I can't function in any other way. I need that nature around me, and green is not only calming, but the plants help purify the air for you, and it's linked to inspiration. So yes, so bring some plants around you if it's difficult for you to actually get yourself out in nature." So we've got hygge. Allow yourself to enjoy when you're actually enjoying your celebration, whatever you're doing, your food, your treats. A treat is fine, and being in nature. So number 4, I got this from someone else, but I actually really, really like it. Live to work, not work to live. Now in Scandinavia, there's quite strong barriers about what's family time and what's work time, and it helps to create a better work-life balance. Now, if we haven't got a healthy work-life balance, that's where we're starting to get all stressed. We take a lot of worries from work, maybe at home, maybe we never finish work, maybe we're like burning the midnight oil, trying to deliver everything that we can. But it's not always the best way to approach things. Sometimes there is a need for things, yes, but generally in Scandinavia, there are quite defined lines on when you are doing things. So in Scandinavia, normally a working day will start at 8 or just before 8, and then you finish at 4 or just before 4. And this can obviously vary, but generally, and that's it. And then people log off. You go home. Your working day is finished. And then you've got the time to dedicate to your family. So, or interests or friends or whatever you want to do. And actually also, especially in Denmark, you have on a Friday very often, you might finish early just to go and have a drink with your colleagues. It's called Friday beers, basically. And it's been deemed as something that really helps the emotional well-being of people. Obviously, you don't need to drink alcohol, but it's the fact that you're actually leaving the office and you're going out and you're going into a different setting and you are actually being the person, okay, and you're winding down. And I've heard other people going like, you know, like the boss would actually come around and they would turn people's computers off if they hadn't logged off, because you know that and that's in work time. You get paid to do this, okay. You get paid to spend a minimum of an hour with your colleagues in a different setting, and it's to kind of nurture the relationship, okay, and a wind down for the weekend. So, but generally, like having this work-life balance is very important, and not only for us as on a mental and stress level, but also physically, because how we perceive the world and when we're stressed and all of that, that all affects in our body as well and our well-being. And again, scientifically it is proven that people who are happy and more relaxed in their work generally are more productive as well. Now, there's different cultures around the world, and I've lived in some of them where maybe it's expected to stay in the office, you know, until late because that's what everyone else is doing, and people are not actually necessarily doing anything, but it's the fact that you're expected to be there. Where I would say in Scandinavia, it's probably a bit the other way around, and yes, I'll leave it with that. Live to work, not work to live. So putting family first and having those clear boundaries. So the last one, kind of, yeah, well, part of it will feed into this, but number 5 is keep it simple. So life can be very complicated at times, and it can be very hard for us to understand where to go next, what to do. We've got so many decisions to make every single day. So keep it simple, and that comes on many different levels. And it's actually something I'm going to talk much more about in the course I'm putting together at the moment. But the simple life, the simplicity of that life can actually have, means that there is less inner and outer clutter to kind of distract you, and also to take your energy away. So I'll give an example. Food. Okay, so when my English husband came with me to Denmark, he was a bit taken aback with the food, because like, this is what is this food? It's like really simple food. He did say peasant food, I think at some point, or farmer's food, and I said, well, yeah, some of the food is really, really simple, but there is a reason why it's simple. So historically, also, you know, the food had to be, and still to some extent it is, simple, because you need to fit it into your everyday working life. Secondly, there is a greater emphasis on having more locally, seasonal, and ideally also organic produce that you make your food with. So you might not have as many ingredients, but you're trying to make something that is local, seasonal, and healthy, i.e., grown or developed organically. I think in Denmark you've got the highest consumption of organic food per habitant. Per habitant, yeah, per person, basically, compared to the rest of the world. And there is a greater emphasis on the fact that you want your food to be simple, especially during the week. And maybe it's a carryover from olden times. I'm thinking of my grandparents as well and how they lived. But the food is relatively simple, and then you have like more elaborate food at the weekend because you've got more time maybe to cook. So, and also it's about keeping your everyday life a bit simpler. We've got something going, what we introduced at home called like a dynamic dinner plan, which helps us to kind of get through the week really, really easy and effortlessly. It's something we've had to work on. It takes a bit of time to develop it, but it means that you spend less time every day, your food's healthier, you spend less time shopping, you waste less food, and it just takes the stress out of your everyday life. And also, when it comes to simple, that also means don't try and put everything into every day. Allowing that breathing space around things, and also allow time to just be. Okay, so again, I've lived in many different cultures and many different countries. I'm not saying that one is necessarily better than others, but from a personal perspective, I know that one of the things that we in Scandinavia really, really treasure, and that gives us a very great sense of happiness, is that yes, we will have activities after work and school like everyone else, but you don't want it every single day. And I talk from personal experience there, because when I was a teenager, I had activities 4 days a week after school. And that was something that I had to pressure my parents into letting me do. And I discovered very quickly that that was probably a bit too much. But sometimes we need to also discover what's too much, and sometimes we need to experience this on our own body. We can't take someone else's advice. But generally, having that time to allow yourself to maybe even get bored, if that ever happens. I'm thinking of my son especially, like just chill. And I said to him the other day, I said, "But don't you miss your friends at the weekend?" He said, "No, Mum, I'm really enjoying being at home. I think about my friends, but I really love being here." So, and that's from a 5-year-old. I know things can change, but I'm the same. My husband's the same. We try and schedule our work so that there is that downtime in there. And it's definitely something that's part of the Scandinavian values as well. So I've talked an awful lot at you. I will just check the comments. I can't see any comments. So if you are watching and you have got any questions, any comments, then make sure you put them in. I shall do my best to answer them. So I'll just do a very quick recap. So 5 key factors why from a Scandinavian point of view needs to be there in order to live a happy life every day. So this is seen with Scandinavian glasses, but personally I can't see why you can't introduce some of these in your everyday life as well. So hygge as a mindset, not necessarily candles and fluffy socks, they're nice to have, but making that space, the time, setting the intention for your hygge. Number 2, celebrate when you can celebrate. Celebrations are great, and it's okay to treat yourself. Remember, lagom, everything in moderation is good, according to Swedish lagom mentality. And that includes cream cakes if you want, maybe once a week. If you have to watch your cholesterol, then please don't. But you'll know for yourself what it means. Number 3, get out in nature more than once a day if you can. Expose yourself, surround yourself. You are part of nature. It helps de-stress you. It keeps you it keeps you happy, it raises your energy, and it's good for mind, body and soul. Number 4, live to work, don't work to live. Make sure you have clear boundaries around your work, so you can allow yourself to put yourself, your family, your friends first. And finally, 5, keep it simple. Life's complicated enough. Take time out to be, time to do things that you enjoy, but also to just be. Watch the clouds, have a cup of tea, put your feet up even, and listen to the birds singing. There you go, you've already combined several things there. So 5 little key things that you can start introducing as well. And I'll be interested to hear how you feel that it's working. You know, are any of these elements new to you? Are you thinking more about them? Maybe you're allowing more time for some of these elements. Sometimes we might already be doing it, but we don't actually invest our energy or our intention into it. And that's where the difference can be in the results that we then see. So if you are interested in finding more about how to create healthy habits every day, then that's what my Healthy Hygge course is all about. You can message me the word Hygge if you are interested in knowing more. And finally, if you want to dive deeper and discover more on how to live from joy for a healthy, happy life in general, then my new my happiness course, is going to be launched soon. Still working very busily at it behind the scenes. If you are interested, you're very welcome to message me with the word happiness, and I will send you some more details. Still finalizing all the loose ends on that course, but that's definitely taking it a step deeper. And like I said, we've just skimmed the surface on many of the things here, for both course content really, but it's taking it that step deeper, and realizing how much power we actually have, and also how much power there is in the simple yet very complex concept of hygge. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you can have lots of takeaways from today's talk. Don't forget to let me know how you're getting on, if you are implementing some of these, or maybe even just changing the way you think about some of these things that you might already be doing in your everyday life. Remember, the first step is sometimes the hardest, but it can also be the most rewarding. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye.